I got an email yesterday from a woman who said, "Hey Karen, I just bought cardstock accidentally to use for my collage background. Do you have any suggestions of what I can use for collage papers?" And I wanted to explode and be like, do I have suggestions? I have like 100. No, actually I have 16. Okay, actually stop. I lied, it's 20. Because as I was filming, I kept remembering more and more ways that I've done and weird things that I've used for collage. So it's 20, and I'm gonna share them all with you in this video. And stay tuned to the end because I'm gonna actually share a really fun way to make your own collage paper that is super cheap and super fun. I'm also gonna be showing you examples of each one so you can really understand and see like the unique attributes of what makes each different kind of paper so cool for your projects. Let's dive in. Okay, number one, I think it's kind of obvious, but I think what I think is obvious isn't always obvious to others. And by the way, if I'm forgetting some obvious ones, speaking of obvious, please let me know in the comments. I want all your ideas. I know I can't possibly know everything, so please let me know. Also let me know if like which ones that were totally new to you. I would love to hear about that too. But what I like about scrapbook paper, first and foremost, is, check this out. All the papers in here are coordinated to go together. So if you're discovering or you're having a hard time choosing color schemes, you can just choose them all from the same scrapbook, and do make sure you pick paper rather than cardstock. Cardstock is a little bit more challenging to work with and to adhere down, but you can just choose separate sheets from the same pack and you know that they're all going to go together. So here's a perfect example of why I love scrapbook paper, because number one, you can use it for the background. And as you can see, I chose this paper which has yellow, red, and blue in it. I'm using it for both background elements as well as foreground elements. So in this project, it doubles as both. So that blows my mind every time. Even though I made this project, it still always delights me that you can use it more than one way for foreground or background. But also this has, as you can see, completely determined my color scheme. So blue, my cat is blue because there's blue in that scrapbooking paper. That's not a coincidence. And the background and her lips are red because again, the scrapbook paper that I chose has the same colors in it, and look at her skin tone. It's the exact color that's in my paper. So use the scrapbook paper colors to help you choose your skin tones and your foreground and background subjects and paint colors. Okay, I'm gonna need new 2 hands. All right, we're at number 2. Number 2 is phone book pages. I know, let me show you how cool that is. Okay, so originally this Mixed Media Fox is done on an upcycled record jacket, but I loved them so much I had them made into a pillow. But check this out. Do you know what those are? That's right, those are telephone numbers of people in my local area, because all this background peeking through is my phone book. Yeah, I don't use a phone book anymore, so when the mailman dropped it off, I grabbed it and I used it for the background for this project. So there you go. Tippy, hi. Do you want to tell him what number 3 is? Oh, I thought so. Number 3 is music paper. So you can actually do mixed media projects directly in an old music book, or have loose, that's in the way, loose sheets where you can like chop them up and put them in the background. But let me show you this, what I was just holding up a little. I'll flip my camera so you can see it better. So as you can see here, look at how beautiful it is to have those music notes shining through. So it's so subtle, you almost don't see them, but you see them kind of peekabooing in the background a bit, right? But also directly through her skin. Ooh, so fun. So yeah, music sheet makes a lovely, lovely collage element. All right, we're up to 4 dictionary pages. And preferably, if it's me, I like vintage dictionary pages. So actually here are 2 pieces made with similar, actually I think these are the same dictionary pages. Similar projects in that they're both 1940s style, but as you can see here, so this one, these are the pages, and then I made her skin so that you cannot see them through like you can in the last project I showed you with the music notes. It's just simply in the background. And then this one, as you can see, I left her face completely unpainted, really. This is just some transparent paint, but you can see the dictionary pages are all everywhere, and it's just a really, I don't know what it is, why I like it so much. I choose the vintage ones because a lot of time they kind of come pre-yellowed, so there's not much treatment that you even need to do to them. It's sort of a shortcut. They're already tinted, so you can kind of go, and they do give a lovely background kind of vintage flair to your mixed media projects that can or don't have to be vintage kind of flavored, if you will. Why do you keep yelling at me? Why? Don't be rude. All right, this is an interesting one that most people don't think of automatically when they think of collage, which is masking tape. Masking tape is actually weirdly a perfect surface to art upon. It accepts paint, gesso, and all the mediums super well. So I highly recommend throwing on some masking tape, and also the texture that it creates in your backgrounds is also super cool. So this is a journal made out of cereal boxes. You may or may not have seen this before, but if you can see subtly underneath here, do you see these horizontal lines? I treated this because it was a cereal box and it was the front. It was actually, I can show you. It was, this has a tiny bit of gloss, just a little, it's not too bad. I taped the entire thing like super neatly with masking tape before applying a gray gesso and then painting over it. So masking tape is a really fun background collage element that you might not have thought of before, and it works great. Trash is number 6. I've used, you know what works so great is like beer bottle wrappers, labels, you know? I've used some of those. I collect them when I travel, and I've put them into the background of my mixed media pieces. And I'll show you 2 more examples of where I use actual trash to create my backgrounds. And actually it starts with the girl right behind me. She's actually the cover of my Mixed Media Magic book, but this is trash. This was actually used as tissue paper that came with a gift. And if this was gonna end up in the trash, so that was something I pulled out of the trash. Actually, it came from another artist's trash. It wasn't even my own trash, and used it for the piece here. And then I also used Hershey wrappers. I made this in the fall, and it was Halloween time. So as you can see here, this is a milk chocolate Hershey wrapper. This whole thing, background was made. You can see these little hints of the metallic shining through. That is my Hershey wrappers. Yeah, guys, free collage. Hey, it's my bathtub babe. Her background is fabric. Okay, so you can use fabric. This fabric was a specialty fabric. It actually had an adhesive backing, which you could peel off like a giant sticker, but that's fabric, my friends. So don't be afraid to think outside the box. And remember, let me know in the comments what unusual collage elements you like to craft with. Number 8 is washi tape. So check this out. This is another mixed media project that I had made into a pillow because I loved her so much. But washi tape, that's just washi tape. I know. And you know what? I didn't realize that some people actually don't know what washi tape is. So let me just actually show you. So washi tape is super widely available, but it comes in these fun little rolls. You know what else is fun? It comes in like thick, but look at these little skinny ones. So again, I use it almost like scrapbook paper sometimes, where I use the colors in it to help define the colors in my project. It doesn't adhere super permanently, so some people use it as like a tacking tape for their project so they can peel it off easily. But at the price point it comes at, I don't like to do that. I think it's too expensive, but it makes a wonderful background. And then here's just one more example of, you can actually use washi tape for a background, but you can also use it for a foreground. So in this case, again, I'm using it for her cute little tutu. We're only halfway through. So many. Number 9 are maps. Maps make super good collage backgrounds. Oh my gosh, let me show you. And actually, what's cool about using maps is that rather than using random maps, you can use maps to create art pieces, mixed media art pieces, of course, to reflect the places that the map is about. What? So like in this case, I have Dreaming of Inverness. You guys all know I'm Scotland obsessed. So this one has elements of a Scottish map in it as the background, gessoed on top, and then I just transferred the text on top. Maps, and the maps are becoming so old school, so collect them up when you see them and get ready to art with them. All right, let's give it up for number 10. I'm talking duct tape. Yeah, right? You guys, duct tape comes in an insanely fun number of patterns. This one I got, you might have seen this before. Most all of these projects are on YouTube. This is duct tape with like a little vintage, little caravan. And how cute is that? So that, I did the whole entire background, and then I caught in the duct tape, and then I carved out the shape of the girl, including her hair. So all her clothes are made up of this super fun duct tape. Now, duct tape is tricky to work with because it is a bit glossy. So I highly recommend making sure you seal it. Makes life a lot easier, and then the paint won't peel off when you're done. But duct tape, so awesome. Okay, number 11 is so fun. Children's books. Now, if it's gonna gut you to destroy a children's book, please don't do it. But sometimes you can find some that are like trash or have no covers on them or whatever that, have been scribbled on by a kid 30 years ago and you don't mind, then target those. Do whatever you're comfortable with. But something like this, there's some children's book pages under here, and the flavor of the children's books I just thought was so appropriate for the flavor of this goofy project. Do you know what I mean? So don't be afraid to let the papers that you're choosing completely dictate and inspire your mixed media collage backgrounds. All right, we're already up to number 12 and we still have more to go. I'm talking napkins. Napkins, you can collect them like in a million different stores. So anytime I see one with a design that I love, I just grab them because you never know when you can pop it in as a mixed media collage background. The only thing to be wary of with napkins is number 1, you need to make sure you separate all the plies. Sometimes there's as many as 3. You just want the little dainty front one with a design on it and not use the other ones. You can recycle those. So that was number 1. The second thing you just need to be aware of is you get a lot more wrinkles with napkins. So from afar, you can't see any of that texture, but if you do come up close, you can see quite a bit of the texture of the napkin, and it is very wrinkly. It doesn't bother me, but it might bother you. So just be aware, there is a wrinkle factor. I love it. It gives it so much interest, but you might not love it, and that's okay. So skip the napkin and let's go on to the next one. All right, we're cruising up to number 13. Number 13 is magazines. Now, magazines are a little bit like napkins. They can be tricky to work with. They tend to wrinkle more. Their glossy pages can be a little bit trouble, but you still can totally use it. Just have to be aware of those things. So here's a project where I used magazine as the collage background. And then again, I like kind of carving out the foreground from my crazy background, but these are all things. This was actually a vision board that I created and it worked well. There's definitely a secret to collaging tricky materials. And at the end of this video, I will show an end screen that you can click on that will lead you to another video, which will show you my exact method for how to collage. There's definitely a way to do it that will bring you way more success. And it might not be what you think it is. So magazines, totally fair game, enjoy. All right, next on our list is commercially made tissue paper that's made for collaging. I mean, sometimes I get tired of thinking outside the box and I just want the thing that I want that'll make a kick-ass project. So I recommend highly these tissue papers by Tim Holtz. Everything I get, I pretty much get on Amazon. So if you're like, where's the link? Just go to Amazon and type in Tim Holtz tissue paper. Here's another one by 7 Gypsies. I just grab them when I see them, but these are specifically made art tissue papers, and guess what? They work awesome. Here is an example of a project where I used one of Tim Holtz, actually it is this exact one. So it's awesome. It comes in a sheet, like a roll. Look at this, I've done a ton of projects with that actually, but here's one, and you can see in the background showing through, you have a little bit of music. There's like some bugs in there, there's some stamping. It looks like stamping, but it's actually all just made, again, little pieces of it. And for this one, I actually just have it in her face, and there's none in the background, but it's in the background of her face. So you can do it any way you want. All right, number, I forget where we are at, 16. Wrapping paper. Yeah, store-bought wrapping paper. You could buy like a Christmas theme wrapping paper and then put it in the background with like a snowman or a Santa on top. Like, there's so much you can do, so much. So this was wrapping paper I bought from Target, and I made her tail. Again, I kind of, actually, this is more of a foreground and a background. The background here is scrapbook paper, and then I used the wrapping paper to create her tail. And in this one, I believe here's a great example of the Tim Holtz tissue paper as a background. This one is masking tape background, which we've already covered. Oh, here we go. This whole background is wrapping paper. So much, so many things you can use. All right, we are working our way up the list. How about just book pages? Book pages are great. It's one of my favorites. I like buying these old ones that are really falling apart. So this one is like, obviously, it's sort of beyond repair. It doesn't even have a back. So things like this, I mean, this will last me my lifetime. So even if I just have one, it's super old, so it's all already yellow. I mean, that looks like it was made on purpose for a mixed media artist, doesn't it? It looks like fake. That is legit. And this would just end up in a trash heap, or rotting away on someone's bookshelf. Again, this is beyond repair, so I don't mind using it. So collage, it's amazing for collage. It looks amazing. It is so absorbent. These old pages are very cottony, and it just like absorbs your mediums or your adhesives that you're using. It's like a dream to art on. This is a really fun one that maybe you haven't thought of before. Have you ever considered just working on top of a grocery bag? Because I did, and it was super fun, and it looked awesome. So this is a grocery bag that I glued into this old upcycled, totally trashed art book. And then I, threw some stamps on there, did a little mixed media of, awesome stuff that you do when you're a mixed media artist, and then put a fashion figure on top. But yeah, I mean, grocery bag, absolutely free, readily available. All right, we are up to 19, and then afterwards is our super fun creative project. 19 are store catalogs. I'm sure some of you have thought of this before, so they work awesome. You can kind of rip and glue like you would in a classic collage style, but you can also use them as the literal background. This is an Arhaus catalog that I simply ripped and put in here. This project is in my Mixed Media Magic book. So I actually wrote the company to ask for permission to feature it in my book. But what I love is that you can't tell where the painting and the photography ends and begins. It's my favorite part. So, and if you want the project, again, it's in the book. But yeah, store catalogs, again, you can use them very literally like this, or you can, again, carve them up and plunk them down. And now let's ready for our DIY collage background paper project. Let's go. All right, so last but not least, and this should actually be a separate entry, but tissue paper, store-bought tissue paper with designs, okay? But something like this, where it's a pack, or just a plain pack of white, that you can get from the dollar store, mind you, or plain but colored too, which would be lovely. Okay. Get out your archival stamp, so this won't bleed when you're doing your mixed media project, so it's actually really important that you're using the right ink. But also you can use colored ink if you want to do something that's going to match like the paints that you're going to use, right? And you can stamp your own and create your own tissue paper designs with your stamp collection. Okay, and then you can have fun. So this is like pink, this is like magenta-y. This is great if you have like a specific design and you can't buy something store-bought that's gonna match the project that you wanna be working on. You can absolutely make your own. And these inks are so great. They come in like a zillion colors. I've been slowly collecting them. Ooh, that one's not even open yet. But you can take, your stamps and make adorable of your own collage designs and then rip them up and collage them on. Okay, now on the screen right now is the video you're going to be wanting to be clicking on next. That's going to show you the exact way to adhere your collage to make awesome backgrounds. All right, so I will see you over there, and thanks for joining me today.